Right, hello guys, it's Jack here from Peach Guitars, and today I want to just take a few moments to walk you through the latest offering from Origin Effects. Namely, this is the RevivalTREM. So here in 2020 now, I shouldn't have to tell you too much about Origin Effects. They've long been established as one of the purveyors of recreating all the facets and little unique trinkets that go into vintage amp designs and distilling them down into fantastically compact pedal formats. And I think they've been well known to do that now with various different devices such as vintage amplifiers in the form of the RevivalDRIVE and RevivalDRIVE Compact that we saw last year. And before that, obviously, they were well known for their compressor series of pedals, which recreated various pieces of studio-grade compression gear. And now they're expanding that knowledge even further, pushing the envelope even further into the world of vintage amplifier design. And now we're actually seeing the very first modulation pedal from them, which is the RevivalTREM here. So what they wanted to do was absolutely capture the essence of bias tremolo, which they claim has never really authentically been done in a pedal format before, but that's exactly what they set out to do. And not wishing to rest there, they also incorporated it with their very well established now RevivalDRIVE style of amplifier valve circuitry. So this pedal is basically a two-in-one. You've got a great overdrive, kind of classic valve amp overdrive circuit, as well as this perfect distillation of bias tremolo too. So as I say, Origin have a very good understanding of what makes these vintage circuits so appealing to modern musicians. And they managed to capture it very well, but also manage to push it further forwards by implementing modern technologies that most people are looking for now out of their high-end pedal products. So this RevivalTREM pedal obviously captures those classic tones, but makes it a lot more usable and variable so that you can apply it to any situation you can dream up. Now what we wanted to do in this particular video is apply exactly the same process that we did when we demoed the RevivalDRIVE Compact last year. So we're just playing straight through a Fender Hot Rod Deluxe amplifier, which I think is an amp that most people can relate to the bass tone of. This pedal is capable of a lot more than that. You can run it directly into a power amp if you want to get that kind of flat response kind of tone, but equally you can voice this pedal through any style of amplifier and you'll be able to get results that are very much kind of desirable. Okay, so let me briefly walk you through what makes up the controls of this pedal. So you've got a 3-control drive circuit, which, as I said, they lifted the technology and knowledge that they gained from designing the RevivalDRIVE circuit. But actually in the R&D process for this pedal, Origin Effects claimed that they really fell in love with a very particular 1962 Brown Fender Deluxe amplifier, and that's what they modelled this particular valve amp circuitry after. So it's got all the characteristics of that kind of early 60s small Fender amplifier tone, all the way from very clean and dynamic, all the way up to when you want to pin the gain control and get that very kind of classically fuzzed out distortion kind of tone. This pedal can do all of that. And that's a really nice platform to build, obviously, the bias tremolo circuit into as well. So what's great about this pedal is that the tremolo circuit is actually incorporated into that amp circuitry. So you can't use the tremolo independently of the amp circuit, but that's very much the nature of bias tremolo, and I think that's what the guys at Origin really want to stress here, is that bias tremolo is often considered by guitar players to be probably the most musical form of modulation that you can have, and that's because the way it was integrated into those amp circuits back in the day really couldn't be replicated by any other form of technology that came after it. So the fact that they've worked so hard to marry the two up, and you've got a great sounding amplifier circuit in this pedal as well as a very authentic bias tremolo, you really notice the effect of that when you do play dynamically. So you'll hear in the clips in this video, when I turn down the guitar volume or even pick a little bit softer, that tremolo effect actually becomes much more pronounced, and that is very true to form of old amplifiers that had bias tremolo built in. So it's great that they managed to capture that so perfectly, and as I say, Origin really are flawless when it comes to this. They pioneer these technologies so well so that you can have a very clear understanding of what makes those old circuits so magical and desirable. So lifting from the classic simple controls that most people associate with tremolo style circuits, namely just speed and intensity, Origin have included that on this pedal, but they have branched out a little bit further and offered some modern features, as I said before. So those are the two main controls that you see. There's also 2 toggle switches on there, one of which will offer you 2 different forms of wave shape, so that adjusts the way that the tremolo actually oscillates, which again is not something that you would have seen on classic valve amplifiers with this design. And you also have a speed adjustment switch, which basically just gives you a whole wealth of options in terms of the rate of the tremolo, again, which isn't something you'd have in classic amps. You can go all the way from very, very slow and kind of subtle, all the way to extremely quick, kind of a form of tremolo, which again you just wouldn't have with biased tremolo. It's never been possible before in an amp circuit, but obviously it is in a pedal format. You can further expand on that using a footswitch jack that's on the top of the pedal. So if you want to incorporate this with a tap tempo switch, you can do that, at which point the speed toggle switch actually operates as different subdivisions for the tap tempo. And you can also incorporate this really easily with modern switching systems. So if you have a switching system and you want to operate the activation of the tremolo circuit in this pedal remotely, you can do that using the footswitch jack on the top. So despite being such a complex pedal on paper, they really made it very simple to operate and get some great sounds out of. So all the tones you're going to hear in this video are actually lifted straight from Origin's manual that they provided to us. So there's 4 clips that we're going to provide to you, and they're all exactly what is written down in the manual. You're going to see the settings on screen too. And it's worth pointing out, as was the case with the RevivalDRIVE Compact video, the only control I vary here is the output, which is just adjusting the overall level of the sounds so that they match up a little bit better with the dry tone of the amplifier. That's the only thing that's changed from the settings in the manual, and that doesn't affect the core tone that they decided to put in the manual there at all. The way I've set this up is using the post-drive section, which is carried across from the RevivalDRIVE. So this basically is like a little mastering section which will allow you to tailor this pedal's output to any particular output source. So in this case, with a Fender Hot Rod Deluxe, I wanted to use the EQ2 setting and the adjustment control, which is basically like a mastering presence control, which you can just think of as your overall high-end frequency control. That's just set dead in the center. So it's very neutral sound here, but just know that you can assign this pedal to basically any amplifier setup and you'll get some great results. So guys, thank you for watching this video. I hope that you're going to enjoy the clips that you hear. As I said at the top of this video, I think Origin are really paving the way in helping us all understand a little bit better about these vintage circuits that we also highly revere. And this is no exception to that rule. It's great to see them get into the modulation game. It's really going to be exciting to see what comes for the rest of 2020 with Origin, and indeed into the future what they decide to turn their attention to. So if you want to find out more about this pedal, you can of course do so by going to peachguitars.com. You'll be able to purchase it there as well, check out high resolution images of this pedal and get current pricing information. Thanks as always so much for watching guys. If you've enjoyed this video, please leave us a like, comment down below with your thoughts, hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so already, and you can find out any more info you want to know at peachguitars.com. So thanks so much for watching, stay tuned, and I'll see you next time.